Right now, people across Israel sheltering in place as Iran launches a new barrage of rockets and missiles. I want to get the read from someone who's actually on the ground in Israel. Australian television journalist Erin Molan is live for us from Tel Aviv. Erin, thank you so much for making the time for us today. I know you have been on a trip there. You have been following everything that's going on with Israel since October 7th, just about as closely as anyone. And we can't forget who is funding Hamas. That's Iran, of course. Tell us what you're seeing on the ground, and then I want you to share your personal story as well that has really transformed your life.
It has, Anna, and thank you so much for having me. And I'll just caveat now, if there is a siren, I will have to run there. I'm fairly frequent at the moment, but look, it's been an incredible few days here on the ground in Israel. It's been incredibly intense, as it would have been for the people in Iran as well. This mission, in my opinion, is one that very much needed to occur. And when you look at what Israel is doing in Iran, you look at what it is targeting in Iran. It is targeting nuclear infrastructure, military bases, terrorists. When the Iranian regime comes back at Israel, it is legitimately going straight to residential buildings and doing significant damage. It is killing children. And that is a difference in the two regimes here. I went and visited one of the sites yesterday where a ballistic missile hit, and it was absolute carnage. So people here are, they're not sleeping. We're going to bunkers 3-4 times during the night. It's tense. People are very used to this in Israel, but this is on a completely different scale than they have experienced. Look, I came here for an event 3 days ago for one night. It was meant to be one night. We're all trapped here now and we can't get out. But I tell you what, I think what is occurring here and what will happen in the Middle East post this incredibly brave move by Israel, and one that was desperately needed, in my opinion. I think it will reshape the entire Middle East, and not just the entire Middle East, it will reshape the entire world, because the threat of Iran having nuclear weapons is one we cannot afford. They are a regime that kill their own people indiscriminately, let alone their desire to kill Israel. As they say, death to Israel, as they say, death to America. So look, it's tough on the ground, absolutely. People are scared, people are suffering, people aren't sleeping, but I think they all understand why this is occurring and why it needed to happen.
Sometimes when we see this tit for tat between Israel and Iran, or Israel and any of their adversaries in the region, sometimes it's performative. This clearly was not. When things got kicked off on Thursday night, it was something like we've never seen before. And they targeted the nuclear facilities, they targeted the nuclear scientists, they targeted top brass in their military as well. And I want to get your read on some of the news headlines of the day as well, because this is breaking just during this show here on NewsNation now, that President Trump vetoed an Israeli plan in recent days to kill Iran's Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. That's according to Reuters. And a U.S. senior administration official is quoted as saying, "Have the Iranians killed an American yet? No. Until they do, we are not even talking about going after the political leadership." What do you make of that headline? Erin, are you still there?
I think the headline regarding Benjamin Netanyahu did a television interview. Benjamin Netanyahu did a TV interview a little bit earlier on, and he debunked that as well. He said it's just not true. You had to 3 days ago, when you have intel that tells you explicitly that the Iranian regime is so close to developing nuclear weapons.
We're having some issues with your signal, Erin. I think we're going to have to cut it short unless we're able to get things patched up there. But again, the other big headline out of this conflict between Israel and Iran is that in an interview with ABC News, President Donald Trump saying it is possible that the United States gets involved in this at the side of Israel, of course. The other headline is that nuclear talks were supposed to be going on today between the United States and Iran. and those talks are not happening today. Those are canceled. And then another headline, I think we're getting Erin back now. Erin, another piece of news that came out of this ABC News interview with Trump is that he got a phone call from President Vladimir Putin. They had a lengthy conversation, not just about what's going on in Ukraine and the war there, but Putin is volunteering to be a mediator between Israel and Iran. We had a congressman on the show earlier. He said there is in no world that Vladimir Putin is a mediator. He is a butcher. Should Vladimir Putin be trusted to be a mediator in all this?
No, no, that is utterly ridiculous. He is a warlord. And look, I am banned in Russia for saying that he is a warlord. He is the last person on earth you would want to put in a position of power when it comes to this conflict. Israel, I'm not Jewish. I'm not Israeli, by the way. I have absolutely no affiliation with this country, but I have half a brain, so I understand their position. Yahya Sinwar, who came up with October 7, the plan, he was a member of Hamas, said 18 months prior that he was going to carry this out. Israel did not act, and look at what happened. Iran have said a million times over they want to kill everybody in Israel. They want to kill every Jew. They want to kill Americans. Yeah. Israel cannot afford, when it comes to a nuclear weapon, to wait and react. They have to be active in this space or else they will die. So this was something they had to do. It's an existential threat.
Yeah. And Erin, I want to hear a little bit about your story. I want our viewers to hear your story. For folks who don't know, I lived in Australia for 6 years. Both of my kids were born there, and your daughter was born about the same time one of my kids was born, and we connected over social media, and you even did my fitness program over there. And then when we moved here to the United States, you got a brand new show. You were on Sky News, and tell us what happened to you.
Well, for the first time in 20 years in the media, I lost every job that I had, which was something a little bit different. So I essentially, and I'm not saying that these things are connected at all. It's a very bizarre space that I'm in, but October 7 occurred, and this was not a kind of me weighing up what my stance would be. There was no decision-making process in my head. I came out incredibly strongly and condemned the atrocities of October 7. I condemned the terrorists who carried them out, and I stood staunchly with the victims of that attack with Israel. I saw it as good versus evil in every way, shape, or form. And since then, I guess this fight has taken over my life in a lot of different ways. And as I said, I'm not Israeli, I'm not Jewish. I have no direct skin in this game. But I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I understand that the threat never ends with Israel. It never ends with the Jews. It is already in my backyard in Australia. It is in your backyard in America. It is in Europe. It is in the UK. This threat, if we do not stand up to this and face this threat, it will ruin the way of life that people like my father, who was in the military, all the brave men and women who have fought to defend freedom, democracy, all the things that we value in Western civilization, will no longer exist. It is that serious, and I'm not exaggerating here. I lived in Indonesia for 6 or 7 years. I speak the language of the world's largest Islamic population. Moderate Muslims are wonderful, amazing people. The extremists, they will ruin the world if we allow them. This fight, you can no longer afford to be part of the silent majority. And now I fight very desperately for a future that does not include terrorism, because I don't want my daughter to grow up in a world where a car is going to be driven into a crowd. They're not checking what religion you are. They don't care. So this is my fight now, and it's one that I'm proud to take up, and I'm proud to stand with a nation like Israel, who on behalf of the world is trying to take out one of the worst regimes in history, who is responsible for so much death and suffering.
Erin, thank you so much. Please stay safe. I know you've been in and out of bomb shelters just like a lot of people in Israel. Thank you so much. Australian TV journalist Erin Molan live for us from Tel Aviv. Thank you.